don't have enough firepower for this Soviet.
I got it.
Far out. With the M16A2, with the M203, we have the firepower to take on those Reds.
Kill a commie for mommy.
The only good commie is a dead commie.
Where's your commie? Come on, that really what we want to do. You want to pull that peep sight on? Make sure you pull him out. You got that grenade launcher on your boy. You got that grenade launcher on your boy. You got that grenade. That's right, boys. Call M203, Bill, boom.
The M16A2 is the latest of lethal firepower offered to you by Colt Defense. Here, we can see Sergeant Mann instructing one of his privates in the use of the M16A2.
Hey! You got soft hand, bro. You got soft hand. You didn't work a day in your life. You got real soft hand. You work 80 hours fucking day.
Sergeant Hammond, what is your opinion of Staff Sergeant Mann? I know there's a lot of opinions floating around the barracks these days.
Staff Sergeant Mann is detached from our reality as we know it.
Just say a first one like this. You want to blade your body? Like that. Get your elbow up. Wrap your hand around. Stable.
After all this experience in Panama, dude, I'm gonna get pitted.
The M16A2 is a gas-operated, air-cooled 5.56 by 45 millimeter automatic rifle feeding from a 30-round magazine. The M16A2 now comes with the M203 grenade launcher, firing low-pressure 40mm high-explosive dual-purpose rounds. Here, we can see them used in practice.
Today we are talking about the M16A2 with M203 in every single way. Micah, what is this to me? This is my favorite rifle.
Nostalgia!
There's no better rifle to this anywhere. Like from Predator to any video game I've ever played, this gun just lives rent-free in my brain 24/7.
This is what we call sex appeal.
I've wanted to do a review on this for a long time, and my YouTube channel is an outlet for my autism, so here we are. Today we're talking about the M16A2 with M203, which is in many ways the worst upgrade to a service rifle that has actually ever been done, unfortunately.
I am living in Spain without the S.
Without the S. But, as we say in Grand Thumb, let's get into it.
Bullshit.
But before we get into it, we have to thank the biggest sponsor of the channel. The biggest sponsor of the channel is who, admin?
The Sonoran Desert Institute.
Wow, look at that. I'm gonna fire Charlie. The Sonoran
Sorry, Charlie.
Desert Institute. If you're looking to get into gunsmithing, they are the people to go to. We cannot thank them enough. Go and check them out. And who can we not forget, Micah?
Primary arms, because you said it.
Candy corn thing, right?
No, it's not, dude, that was last month.
Candy corn thing. You're like, that's like 2 months away.
Wait, what year is it?
1995.
1995. There's no rules.
Go to Primary Arms. Awesome optics, great price. They support the channel. They've been very good to us. We love them, right, Micah?
We cuddle them.
That actually has occurred.
Wait, what?
And then, of course, unlike the camera that we're filming this, unlike the TV that you're watching this on, AAC ammunition is made in the US of A. No commies allowed, nothing like that. Go and check them out. All the ammunition that we're using is from AAC. We love them.
Now, we need to take a quick moment to right a wrong here. So back when we did the KP9 video, Casey Cotter of Kickback Coatings did an awesome job fixing a really botched camo job from KUSA. And that video got crazy, and unfortunately, my notes got a little bit jumbled, and I didn't give him the recognition that he deserved for doing that. Now, we're definitely late on this, so we have to give Casey Cotter of Kickback Coatings a huge, big I love you for that work that he did on the KP9, because he really did do a phenomenal job.
Micah, what do we always do now?
We
do drills.
We do drills.
We do
run
drills.
We test the gun.
Exactly. What drill should we start with, Micah?
Mozambique.
We're starting spicy.
Start field drill.
Here's my favorite thing. You have to wear what kit you have on right now. The worst position of all of us is you with this vest. But you got frag protection, man, so that's good.
That's pretty good.
We actually do have mostly authentic kit on with me and Aaron. We have the Owl Skier with the original USGI. Mine's Raid modified. Micah, why is it called the Mozambique, Aaron?
I believe.
Be careful, you're on thin ice, by the way.
I'm on very thin ice.
Who's Rhodesia?
In Mozambique.
Was it Rhodesia? I think it was
Zimbabwe.
And it occurred in a politically correct environment.
There you have it. All right, now with the M16A2 with the M203, we are like 3 barrel lengths away, so we should be extremely accurate, correct? All right, let's go ahead and let's do this.
Do we note that that's not really zeroed? Or it just keeps shifting a little?
Yeah, the optic isn't great. That is an ACOG.
Luke is gonna be pissed.
Bye bye. Ooh, not bad, not bad, not bad.
Not bad, not bad. Okay.
Now there has this or this.
Ooh, I mean, I would say within this line, it got his forehead. It's in line with the smaller hit box. I call it a hit.
It's a hit.
It's a hit.
It's a hit.
Next up, we have administrative results. This is kind of your specialty, outdated weapons, right?
Absolutely.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Very good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well done.
Excellent.
Boys,
Better than me.
Almost an administrative result.
that was
That was
definitely
a very, some might call it an executive outcome. Stand by. Up. Woo! Crushed us.
Damn.
More like Grand Dumb, dude. I suck.
Ooh, let's do 2224 drill.
Travis Haley?
22422.
All right.
2422.
Let's talk about the 22422 drill. Okay, breaking it down for you. Why do we do the 222422 drill?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think that.
I don't know either, but it's something that Travis Haley came out with back in the day, and everybody thought it was hot in the sauce. So I say give it a go. That was my Travis Haley impersonation and scene. How was that? And but
Woohoo!
One
Close.
mic? That was one mic, right?
2 mics. 2 mics.
here's
I drifted off when I came back. Bye. Up. There you go. We both did it.
on that. Yeah, that throttle back to the very last target. It did a little too much.
All right, give Mike a new mag. Shooter, do you understand the course fire?
I do.
Stand by. Up.
Okay,
Nice.
that was good.
Yeah, that was really
throttled
good.
down a little though. You guys were going pretty speedy.
Yeah.
Nah, you were pretty speedy, man. That was
pretty
fast. That was super fast. 6 rounds.
Hey, real quick question.
What?
Who is Bill and why is this his drill?
That's nobody knows.
Actually, yeah.
Do you know?
Is it Bill Blowers?
It's not Bill Blowers, but I do love Bill Blowers.
Shooter, are you ready?
Yeah.
Stand by. Oh, one mic.
One mic. One high.
It was that first shot.
Yeah, I went too high up.
Yeah.
But like you said, that optic is too high.
Yeah.
Nice. Stand by. Up. Nice. Very good.
Felt a little slow.
Very good. Nice. Right there. Up. Woo!
Hot damn.
Fast, dude.
I'm on G Fuel.
Dude, you're
When
crushing
you
it.
drink, when you carry insurance, there you go to. Big thank you to USCCA.
That was actually that was a fantastic
That was really
transition.
good.
Oh my God.
All right, we have a target at 175 right here. This optic is not the best at holding zero. She old, she has served her country, and she's kind of given up the ghost a little bit. And we'll do 3 rounds. All right, hit me with it up. We'll start off the barricade.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Up.
You just gotta find that hole.
That was pretty good,
Not bad. Not bad
considering what we're dealing with.
considering what we're dealing with. All right, shooter, are you ready?
Ready.
Stand by. Commies. High. 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 Right. Right. Impact. 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 You got it.
Ah,
Once we get it. Once we
we
get
find the hole.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by. Hup. Impact. Right. Impact. Close. Almost a clean run.
Dang it.
Almost a clean
I
run.
like how that last shot wasn't the same hold as my first shot.
This is a grenade launcher, so I think it's some time to see who's the best with the grenade. We have to go to get grenades, though.
Oh God.
They're right down there.
How was that?
Beautiful.
Were you guys timing me?
No,
No, we were planning on putting an audio clip over it.
Damn it.
base of the hill. That's so these aren't precise to the HE rounds. So the ladder is going to be a little bit off. I would say probably on the 100 mark. We'll give this a little testy before we see who's best. We'll kind of range it first. Not bad. That was very high. That was very high.
Okay.
So I aimed at the 100. dead on, I would do halfway between the 100 and the 50 mark.
Okay.
Give that a shot, and then we'll actually do the test and see who's best. Let's get the camera on it so the audience can judge. Oh! That guy's dead.
Base of the target.
You got like a 25-meter kill radius right there from
sick.
frag.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
think
you
he
got
called
him.
his
He's
hit.
dead. Oh! That was right
Who is
at
this
the
man?
base. Holy
Who is this
shit.
man?
Oh! I will say, Michael wins.
Yeah,
I think me and you about tied.
we about tied.
I think
Yeah.
you guys tied. I think we all landed the same distance. You were just right. He was just left. I was just
Yeah.
Dude, no, yours was close. Yours was like, I would say a meter away from the target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
That was a hell of a shot.
Who's this? This guy's a freak of nature with this gun.
I don't know why.
It's this.
I don't know
Jacket,
why.
dude. It's like,
You want-
All right, so I thought of one last drill we could run.
I'm ready.
And it's basically the jungle stance.
No
So
way.
just squatted, and like they just pretty much just popped out and like ah, and that's when we
Is
kind
that
of
how they scream?
ah. I don't know.
Good. Okay. How many rounds?
It's essentially like a bill drill.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, what stance are we like this, and then we have to pop down into it?
Oh, even better. Even better. Even better.
Okay. Okay.
We're making this up as we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where you begin shooting.
Okay.
This distance. But you start
Yo.
here.
Yeah, you run into it.
So it's this. Stand by.
nice.
I get him.
You know what?
Not bad.
Not bad. That's
Nope.
a dead red.
That's a dead commie right there.
Why are you so good at these like unconventional bill drills?
Commies are somewhere in the hills. Let's go. Commies! Woo! Seven. That's still good. That's still
minus
good.
1%.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, let's see. So down
more.
pelvic girdle. Why am I good at these retarded
Why are
drills?
you good at these?
Let's get the marker there.
Peculiar.
You know what? You wanted the drills that matter.
I guess, but that would have kept you alive in Vietnam.
Panama, Vietnam, the Fulda Gap. All right, commies in the hills. Let's go. Commie! Oh! Oh! Not bad. That was mostly A zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
Very good.
I'll take that.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna dub Aaron the commie killer.
You know, it's just like my life. I do a lot of shooting from the hip.
What does that mean?
I got nothing. What is that?
Yeah, what is it?
I mean, it's kind of like an antidote for even the joke itself. You know what I mean? Like it's made up on the spot.
We'll talk about the M16.
okay, all right.
The M16A2 with the M203 has a very interesting history that I want to talk about. Before we get into that though, the thing that we do need to note about the M16A2 is that with all of the added weight in the barrel, with the M203, with the rifle length gas system and the full length stock, which is longer than the standard A1 stock that you had in the M16A1, you do have a very, very smooth cycling rifle. This thing actually turns off recoil. So I'll show you guys right here just what the basic recoil impulse looks like on the M16A2. It is a very smooth cycling rifle, and that is one thing that we can say about it. Now, there are a lot of problems with the M16A2, and we're gonna talk about those, but as far as shootability is concerned, it is quite good. It is a very accurate, a very reliable, and just, it is a good combat rifle, just some little weird quirks about it. So let's go ahead, let's get into it, as we always do on Grand Thumb, the shooter's perspective of the M16A2. Now, the history of the M16A2 is very interesting. The M16A1, with its upgrades, ended up being a fairly capable combat rifle and was very effective in the Vietnam War and other conflicts that it served in. Now, the Marine Corps has a very proud history of marksmanship, and as well they should. They are all riflemen. Very proud of all my Marines, all the guys who served there. So the M16A2 is in many ways the brainchild of the Marine Corps. They wanted to have a rifle that was more accurate, that was target ready, that could just print those tiny little groups. So a lot of the improvements, quote unquote, that we saw with the M16A2 were at the behest of the United States Marine Corps. Now, A lot of people in history will note that there are issues, but nonetheless, the M16A2 was a very effective combat rifle. So we're gonna go tip to butt as we always do. So one thing that we have to look at first off is the M16A1 with its birdcage flash hider. It actually went all the way around. You can see here how at the bottom of the M16A2, we have this part that is solid. The reason for that was when you're prone and you're firing, that's not going to kick up any dust. That was the whole reason behind having it. Now, that being said, the original 3-prong muzzle devices that we had in the M16A1 were, I would say, in many ways more effective than the birdcage flash hider. That being said, it does work quite well, and in many ways, the birdcage is kind of the baseline for all flash hiding. In fact, when you see most comparisons, they use the birdcage as like the very baseline of it. Now, the front of the barrel is where everything gets very interesting. This isn't brand new information to anybody, but we have a lot of weight added up front on the barrel. It's a much thicker barrel. And the question is, why is it thicker? It's actually a very funny story. So originally, when they were developing the M16A2 and they were testing on M16A1s, they were finding when they were dropping a bent barrel gauge down the barrels of the M16A1s that they were stopping just around the front sight post. And so they're like, shit, our barrels are bending. What is causing this? Is it, you know, intense bayonet fighting? Is it troops prying with their barrels? They weren't quite sure, but they knew that they had to do something to mitigate it. So they actually added a lot of weight forward of the front sight post to ensure that those barrels wouldn't bend. Now, what ended up happening is when they finally got to the bottom of the problem, before the M16A2 was adopted, they realized that it wasn't that the barrel was bent, but the bent barrel gauges were hitting a buildup of material at the gas port of the front sight block. So the barrels were fine, but they thought they were bent, but it was just a buildup of material. It was really no big deal. So they went to the government. This is classic government procurement, by the way. And they said, hey, we found out what's happening. We don't need to add weight out there. We can make for a better balanced rifle. We can thin it out right there. And the government was already like, too late. We've already said good to go on that thick barrel, so it stays. And hence was born the government profile barrel. You're welcome, everyone. So we have a heavier barrel out front, but as you can see, the forward weight actually does make the rifle a little bit more controllable because weight's going to help. You do have a heavier rifle out front though. Now, when it comes to the front sight base, very similar to the M16A2. Now, when it comes to the M203 specifically, we have this very attractive handguard. So there's been a couple different grenade launchers that were tried out during the Vietnam War and after. You had the M148 and etc. But the M203 ended up being the one that the United States government stuck with for a very long time up until the M320, which is what we have right now. The M203, in my mind, is one of my favorite grenade launchers. It's not the most effective. The M320 is an improvement in many ways, but I would say the M203 is probably one of the most attractive looking grenade launchers. Wouldn't you agree, Micah?
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. So let's talk about how it works. So over here, we have our safety on our weapon. So that's how you push the safety off. We have our trigger, and then we have the release. So if you need to open that up, you simply hit this ledge right there. That opens it up. You can see there is a finite amount of space that you have here. So this becomes a problem when you're using certain 40mm rounds that are a little bit too long for it. And that's when you have to use something like an M320 or another grenade launcher that simply opens to the side or opens so you have more room to push it in. It can certainly be a pain in the ass once you have this thing loaded to unload it. Again, many other grenade launchers were an improvement. But that being said, I really do love the M203. Now you have many different lengths of the M203, but on the M16 you have the full length. Now on my particular one, you'll note that I have the tape on the bottom. That's simply to protect it when I'm resting it on a rock or in a barricade or something like that. And as you can see, tape is getting a little torn up. On the left edge right here, my favorite part about this is that you have this little ledge to protect from accidentally engaging that. So when you're shooting this, you can actually use that as kind of like a thumb over bore technique, and you can really dig down on this rifle and really control it quite well when it's firing. From there, on the heat shield we have with the M203, this is, in my mind, the most attractive handguard ever designed. Ever. You can't argue with me. Not allowed to. Obviously, in games like Call of Duty, this is standalone. These aren't meant to run standalone. They are open on the bottom for the M203, so it doesn't work just to run them on their own. On the top, you can see we have the vents right here, and then we do have the ladder sight for the 40mm grenade launcher. Now, on the ladder sight, Micah actually had a good question about this. How do you line it up? So you can see we have these little hash marks right here. So we have increments of 50. The red line is about as close as you want to fire. That's about 50 yards. We have 100, 150, 200, 250, and you're starting to kind of outrange the 40 millimeter grenade launcher at that point. And again, these are low velocity rounds, so they're only going so far. But you put the front sight posts in between those in order to aim. It's a little funky, right, Micah?
Yeah.
And there are many grenade launching sights out there. In fact, on the A1 and the A2, there was a different one that sat on the carry handle right here and was, I think, a little bit faster, but I kind of like the old school vibes of this guy right here. You can see the two muzzle devices right here. You can see how on the older bird cage, it goes completely around compared to the A2. And then especially looking at the barrels, you can see how much thicker the M16A2 is. This is the U versus the guy she told you not to worry about, kinda. Now, a quick note, if you love this particular build or the M16A1, both these were built by MIL International Co. They do a great job of that, and we definitely have to thank them for allowing us to do the review on these particular rifles. They are essentially one-to-one reproductions and copies, and they do a really phenomenal job. And all the weird quirks of these systems are certainly here. So we'll get into that. The bolt carrier group on the M16A2 was awesome for its time. However, the mil-spec phosphate coating is definitely massively inferior to modern coatings. Obviously, that's kind of a given, but you'll be very surprised at the amount of carbon buildup you get on these older bolt carriers compared to new ones. The M16A2 compared to like shorter rifles with carbine and bid-like gas systems are certainly a little bit more finicky and a little bit more sensitive to carbon buildup. You have to keep these weapons a little bit cleaner. The rifle length gas system is great. It is, however, very soft and not as kind of quick and violent as the M4 was, or as, a 16 inches. So as a quick note, keep these a little bit more clean. Baby them just a teeny bit more. Now, obviously, on this particular rifle, we do have a gooseneck optic mount that goes off of the carry handle. This is one of the originals that was made back in the day. And we do have one of the old ass Trijicon ACOGs on here. It is powered by the fucking sun. So that is kind of cool. It never goes out. But as you can see, it is very, very heavily tinted so that you can see the dot. There's not a lot of energy needed to power it. However, the coatings on them are quite thick. So compared to modern optics, it's a little bit odd the first time you look through them. Now, this particular optic is kind of giving up the ghost at this point, but let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the rear sight here. So on the rear sight on the M16A1, you can see that you need a bullet tip in order to adjust it for windage. Then elevation can be adjusted through the front sight right here. Now, Eugene Stoner was a big fan of his original design. He was in every way a not at all fan of the M16A2 and was very critical a lot of the improvements that were made to it. In fact, he had an interview where he was pretty scathing on his thoughts on this rifle, especially the rear sights. So the rear sights are in every way amazing target sights, and I actually do like them overall, even as a combat sight. But they're both windage and elevation adjustable. Eugene Stoner's problem with it was that he believed that soldiers would finick, or he believed that soldiers would kind of nervously twist the knobs and stuff as they were sitting on patrol and stuff. So he really didn't want these to be easily adjustable, which is why on the A1, you needed a bullet tip to adjust them. But what's really cool on the A2, just like the A1, is that the apertures are changeable, right? So you have more of a target aperture right here. Both of them are excellent. They're really good iron sights in every way. And many people saying high praises about them. It's just Eugene Stoner himself was not a fan of them at all. Now, moving down to the lower receiver here, obviously one of the big improvements was the mass issuing of 30-round magazines compared to the older 20-round magazines, although that had kind of occurred already by this point. But the big thing was the change in fire control group. And this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because I wish we could show all the firing modes on the M16A2. However, due to YouTube rules, we cannot. So please continue to lobby Google and YouTube to allow us to show these types of historical things, as they have value. It sucks, right, Micah?
It blows.
It blows. So in any case, we have safe, semi, and then the unnamed position right here. Eugene Stoner was not a fan of that at all. In fact, nobody was a fan of that. And I'll explain to you why. So the 3-round burst mechanism used a very complex system that if you've ever fired a burst before, you have to hold the trigger for all 3 rounds. If you hold the trigger and you only fire 2 rounds, then it doesn't reset itself, unlike other European weapons. So if you fire 2 and then you let go and you expect to fire a 3-round burst, you'll just fire 1. It has to complete the cycle. Now, that's not the only problem. In semi, you have 3 different trigger pulls. It was really a terrible system, and Eugene Stoner himself noted that typically soldiers needed about 5 to 6 rounds of full auto before they kind of drove down to target. He was not a fan at all of the 3-round burst, and some other militaries and weapon systems did adopt it, but ultimately with the M16A3 as well as the M4A1, we went back to full auto from the burst mechanism. It was decided to be fairly poor. Now in this particular weapon, we have replaced it with a simple Geisley trigger because you really can't beat a Geisley, and it's dummy fast on this particular weapon. Just like M16s of today, we do have your standard bolt release. We have all your standard fire control groups. So safety is the safety you know and love. The A2 grip is the A2 grip that you know and love. As you can see, they added these nice finger grooves compared to the M16A1. I think in many ways was a step in the wrong direction. Not a lot of people like the A2 grip, but there's some people who obsess about them because of, what's the word, Micah?
Nostalgia?
Nostalgia, precisely. They do look cool, that is definitely for sure. Now, with the M16A1, you see that we have this older fiberglass stock, which is nylon infused. We had a much stronger stock that was used in the A2. They also added length onto the A2 as well. Again, that length of pull was great for keeping the weapon steady in target practice and in prone. However, the problem is around this time we began to have flak vest, and especially began to get body armor that was issued, and the M16A2 quickly became a very long musket for everything that you needed. Now in the case of Canada, with their C7 rifles, they ended up having the M16 length, but they had an adjustable stock. That solved the problem. In America, we went to the M4 with an adjustable stock, and that kind of solved a lot of the problems. Now, a couple quick notes here on this particular rifle. You can see that we have ours taped, as the Rangers of old used to do it. So how you do this is you loop some paracord right through the sling attachment point. You tie a square knot at the top, you tape it, then you can attach your sling, and then you do the same with a nice little girth hitch right there with some paracord and attach a sling at the front. What this allows you to do is to have this rifle in a more modern sling configuration. And this isn't anything new. The Rangers have been doing this since 1990 and way before that. This allows you to keep the weapon on you. You can drop it, you can still have it on you just like a modern sling. It's just the older sling positions didn't allow that to occur, which is why they came up with this particular way of mounting the sling. So that kind of ends the M16A2. Despite all the issues with it, despite all the weird kind of nuances of the M16A2, it is still my favorite weapon. We have made shots out to 540 with it. It is a very accurate weapon. It's a very reliable weapon. And no matter what, it's gonna live in my head rent-free because I just love the look of it, and I love NATO Wave, and I love kind of the era it came from. It's just pure nostalgia, Micah. As cool as this weapon is, if you're not training, you're not gonna be good with it. So get training, get out there, actually shoot with this. I'd be super terrified of someone with an M16, because what we didn't mention is that the 20-inch barrel with a 5.56 turns every single brand of ammunition from training ammo into duty ammo. Your 55 grain rounds will be traveling around 3,300 feet per second, and that is absolutely devastating. The M16A2 is still a very viable weapon, although dated in many ways. So train, get out there with your buddies, be good. Tons of places to get training from, Bear Solutions, Haley Strategic, us soon. So get out there, do that, and as always, guys, we got nothing else for you. Dad advice: there's a lot of money to be made in a headline. Do your research before coming to an opinion purely based off of a headline or based off the information put into there. Vet everything, trust nothing, and be smart connoisseurs of information, because there is a lot of it that isn't true out there.